Good evening, dear friends. It is a blessing to gather with you all this midweek evening. As we pause in the middle of our busy week, I want to take a moment to reflect on a profound truth that can bring us both comfort and strength: surrendering to God's sovereignty. In our lives, we often encounter uncertainty and challenges that can feel overwhelming. We strive to take control, to manage every aspect of our lives, believing that if we just work a little harder or plan a little better, we can secure our desired outcomes. However, the reality is that there are many things beyond our control. In these moments, we are reminded of the words of Psalm 46:10, which says, "Be still and know that I am God." This verse invites us into a posture of surrender. To be still is not simply to stop our physical activity. It is a call to quiet our anxious hearts and minds. It is an invitation to trust in God's sovereignty. When we surrender our worries, our fears, and our need for control, we open ourselves to the peace that comes from knowing that God is in control. Surrendering to God's sovereignty means acknowledging that He is the ultimate authority in our lives. It means recognizing that His plans for us are good, even when we cannot see the full picture. In Jeremiah 29:11, God reassures us, saying, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." When we surrender, we embrace the truth that God is working all things together for our good, even in the midst of trials and tribulations. This surrender is a process. It takes time, practice, and often requires us to revisit our trust in Him repeatedly. But every time we release our grip on our own plans, we create space for God's perfect will to unfold in our lives. Consider the story of Job, a man who faced unimaginable loss and suffering. In his darkest moments, Job struggled, but he ultimately recognized the sovereignty of God. He said, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him." Job 13:15. Job's surrender did not mean he understood everything or that he didn't feel pain. Rather, it was a deep-rooted faith that allowed him to trust God despite his circumstances. As we reflect on our own lives, let us ask ourselves, what are we holding on to tightly? Are there areas where God is calling us to surrender? Perhaps it is a relationship, a job, or a personal struggle. Let us take a moment to be still and invite God into those spaces. Let's remember that God is not only sovereign but also intimately concerned about us. As we close this evening, I encourage you to take a deep breath, to be still, and to acknowledge that God is indeed God. He is in control, and in that knowledge we find our peace. Let us surrender our worries to Him, trusting in His perfect plan for our lives. Amen.